It was supposed to be another heartwarming Letters to Love segment, where kids shared sweet notes they'd written to family members, thank you cards to teachers, birthday wishes for grandparents, maybe some adorable misspelled declarations of affection. Ellen treasured these moments with children, their pure expressions of love unfiltered by adult complications, their innocent belief that words could heal anything. But when 8-year-old Emma Rodriguez approached the special kids area with a carefully folded piece of paper clutched in her small hands and tears already forming in her dark eyes, Ellen had no idea she was about to witness one of the most profound examples of a child's wisdom and compassion she'd ever encountered. Emma's letter would reveal a depth of understanding about grief, guilt, and healing that would leave the entire studio speechless and force Ellen to confront the extraordinary capacity children have to see what adults miss. Emma stood at the kids' letter station wearing a purple dress with small white flowers, her long dark hair braided with ribbons that her grandmother had probably spent careful time arranging. But it was her expression that caught Ellen's attention immediately, a seriousness that seemed far too heavy for someone so young, eyes that held shadows of worry no 8-year-old should carry. In her hands she held a piece of pink stationery that had clearly been folded and unfolded many times, the creases soft from handling. "Hi there, sweetheart." Ellen approached Emma with gentle energy, immediately sensing this child needed careful attention. "What's your name?" "Emma Rodriguez," she replied softly, her voice carrying a maturity that seemed at odds with her small stature. "I'm 8 years old, and I have a letter." "Emma Rodriguez, what a beautiful name. And I can see you have a letter there. Is it for someone special?" Emma nodded, holding the paper closer to her chest. "It's for my mommy, but I can't give it to her." Ellen knelt down to Emma's eye level, something in the child's tone alerting her that this wasn't going to be a typical sweet letter sharing. "Why can't you give it to your mommy, Emma?" "Because it will make her cry more, and she already cries too much." The words hit Ellen like a gentle but devastating truth. This wasn't about childhood shyness or embarrassment. This was about a little girl protecting her mother from additional pain. "Emma, sweetie, can you tell me more about that? Why does your mommy cry?" Emma looked around the studio, then back at Ellen, as if deciding whether it was safe to share her secret. "My daddy went to heaven 6 months ago, and mommy thinks it's her fault." Ellen felt her chest tighten. Here was a child dealing with the loss of a parent while simultaneously trying to heal her surviving parent's guilt and grief. "Oh, Emma, I'm so sorry about your daddy. That must be very hard for you." Emma nodded, her composure remarkably steady for someone so young discussing such profound loss. "It is hard, but mommy doesn't know that I know she thinks it's her fault." Ellen was struck by the complexity of what this 8-year-old was processing, not just her own grief, but her mother's guilt, and the burden of knowledge she felt she couldn't share. "Emma, what makes you think your mommy blames herself?" "I hear her crying at night when she thinks I'm sleeping. And sometimes she talks on the phone to Grandma and says things like, if I had made him go to the doctor sooner, and I should have known something was wrong. But Daddy was sick inside where nobody could see." Ellen had to pause to collect herself. The wisdom and empathy radiating from this child was extraordinary. "Emma, you wrote a letter to your mommy about this?" Emma nodded and looked down at the paper in her hands. "I wanted to tell her that she's still a good mommy, and that Daddy going to heaven wasn't her fault. But if I give it to her, she'll know I heard her crying, and then she might feel bad about that too." Ellen was completely overwhelmed by this child's consideration for her mother's feelings, even while processing her own enormous grief. "Emma, can you tell me what you wrote in your letter? You don't have to show it to me if you don't want to, but maybe you could tell me some of the things you want your mommy to know." Emma thought carefully about this, weighing whether sharing with Ellen might somehow help. Finally, she began to speak, her words carrying the honest simplicity that only children possess. "I wrote that she's the best mommy in the whole world, even when she's sad. I wrote that Daddy loved her so much that he told me to take care of her if anything happened to him. And I wrote that when she cries at night, I want to hug her, but I don't want her to feel bad for being sad." Ellen felt tears forming in her eyes. This child was carrying an incredible emotional load, her own grief, her mother's guilt, and the responsibility she felt to heal them both. "Emma, those are beautiful things to say. Why do you think your letter might make your mommy cry more?" "Because she'll know I've been worried about her, and mommies don't like it when their kids worry about them. She's trying so hard to be strong for me, but I can see that she's broken inside." Ellen stood up and addressed the entire studio, her voice thick with emotion. "Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand what we're witnessing here. Emma is 8 years old, and she's trying to heal her mother's guilt and grief while processing her own loss. She's written a letter of love and forgiveness, but she's too caring to share it because she's protecting her mother's feelings. Ellen returned to Emma, sitting down on the floor beside her. Emma, what if I told you that your letter might not make your mommy cry more, it might help her cry less? Emma looked skeptical. How? Well, sometimes when people are sad and they think they're alone with their sadness, sharing that sadness with someone who loves them can make it feel lighter. And sometimes hearing that someone forgives us for things we blame ourselves for can help us start to forgive ourselves. Emma considered this carefully. You think mommy would feel better if she knew I don't blame her? I think your mommy would feel better if she knew she wasn't carrying this pain alone, and that the person she loves most in the world, you still think she's a wonderful mother. Ellen made a decision that would define this moment. Emma, is your mommy here today? Emma nodded. She's sitting over there, she pointed to the audience, but she doesn't know what my letter says. Emma, would you be willing to share your letter with your mommy right here? I think she needs to hear what you wrote. Emma was quiet for a long moment, the weight of this decision enormous for someone so young. What if she gets really sad? Emma, your mommy is already really sad, but right now she's sad and alone with her feelings. If you share your letter, she might still be sad, but she won't be alone anymore. Emma looked toward her mother in the audience, then back at Ellen. Will you help me? I will help you in any way you need. Ellen signaled to her production team, and within moments, they had located Emma's mother, Sofia Rodriguez, a woman in her early 30s whose appearance immediately explained everything Emma had described. Even from a distance, Ellen could see the weight Sofia carried, the careful way she held herself, the shadows under her eyes that spoke of sleepless nights, the tentative smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Mrs. Rodriguez, could you join us on stage, please? Sofia made her way down, clearly confused about why she was being called, but smiling encouragingly at Emma. When she reached the stage area, Ellen could see up close the toll that grief and guilt had taken, the way Sofia's hands trembled slightly, the careful control she maintained even while obviously struggling. Hi, I'm Ellen, she said warmly, taking Sofia's hand, and you must be Emma's mom. Yes, Sofia Rodriguez. Is Emma okay? Did she do something wrong? Ellen's heart broke at Sofia's immediate worry that her daughter might be in trouble, the response of someone who had been living in a state of constant anxiety. Emma didn't do anything wrong, Sofia. In fact, she did something incredibly right. She wrote you a letter, and she's been carrying it around because she loves you so much she was worried about your feelings. Sofia looked confused, glancing between Ellen and Emma. A letter? Emma, what letter? Emma stepped forward, still holding the folded paper, her small hands shaking slightly. Mommy, I wrote this for you, but I was scared to give it to you. Scared? Emma, why would you be scared to give me a letter? Ellen gently intervened. Sofia, Emma has been carrying some very big feelings, and she's been trying to protect you while she processes them. Emma, would you like to read your letter to your mommy, or would you like me to help you? Emma looked at her mother, seeing for the first time that Sofia was crying, not the hidden tears Emma had been hearing through bedroom walls, but open, curious tears of a mother who suddenly realized her child had been carrying something important. I'll read it, Emma said with quiet determination. Emma unfolded the paper, smoothing out the creases with care. When she began to read, her voice was clear and strong, carrying the pure truth that only a child's love can express. Dear Mommy, Emma began, I know you think Daddy going to heaven was your fault, but it wasn't. I heard you talking to Grandma about how you should have made him go to the doctor sooner. But Mommy, Daddy was sick inside where nobody could see, and that's not your fault. Sofia gasped, bringing her hand to her mouth. She had no idea Emma had been aware of her guilt and self-blame. Emma continued reading. You are still the best mommy in the whole world, even when you're sad. When you cry at night, I want to come hug you, but I don't want you to feel bad for being sad. Daddy told me once that if anything happened to him, I should take care of you. So I want to take care of you, but I don't know how. Sofia was sobbing now, but Ellen could see these were different tears, not the isolated tears of guilt and shame, but the connected tears of being truly seen and understood. I miss Daddy too, Mommy, but I don't want you to think you did anything wrong. You loved him so much, and you love me so much. Daddy got sick, and sometimes people get sick and nobody can fix them, but that doesn't mean we didn't love them enough or take care of them enough. Emma looked up from her letter to see her mother's face. Mommy, I wrote this because I want you to know you're still a good mommy, and I want you to stop being sad about things that aren't your fault. Ellen watched as Sophia knelt down and pulled Emma into the kind of hug that speaks to desperate need, a mother finally allowing herself to be comforted by her child, a child finally able to offer the love she'd been holding back. "Emma," Sophia whispered, "I had no idea you knew. I had no idea you were carrying all of this. I was trying to protect you, Mommy, just like you were trying to protect me." Ellen addressed both of them gently. "Sophia, Emma has been showing incredible wisdom and compassion. She's been trying to heal your guilt while managing her own grief." Sophia looked at Ellen through her tears. "I did blame myself. I keep thinking about all the signs I might have missed, all the times I could have insisted he see a doctor earlier. The heart attack was so sudden, and I felt like I failed him." Emma took her mother's face in her small hands. "Mommy, you didn't fail Daddy. You loved him every day, and he loved you every day too. And now he wants us to love each other and not be sad about things we couldn't control." Ellen was crying openly now, as was most of the studio audience. They were witnessing something sacred, a child healing her mother's guilt with pure unconditional love. "Sophia," Ellen said gently, "Emma has been trying to carry your pain along with her own. She's been protecting your feelings while grieving her father. She's been more emotionally mature than most adults I know." Sophia hugged Emma tighter. "Emma, I'm so sorry. I thought I was protecting you by being strong, but I was just making you worry about me instead." "It's okay, Mommy. We can be sad together now. We don't have to protect each other from being sad." Ellen stood up and addressed the audience. "Ladies and gentlemen, you just witnessed something extraordinary. You witnessed a child teaching an adult about forgiveness, about love without conditions, about healing together instead of suffering alone." Ellen turned back to Sophia and Emma, who were still holding each other. "Sophia, Emma's letter isn't just about your husband's death. It's about life, about how we move forward together, how we support each other through impossible pain, how we choose love over guilt." Ellen made another decision that would extend this healing moment. "Sophia, Emma, I want to do something for your family. I want to connect you with grief counselors who specialize in helping families heal together. And I want to help Emma understand that 8-year-olds shouldn't have to carry adult worries alone." Sophia wiped her tears. "Ellen, I don't know how to thank you. And Emma," she looked at her daughter, "I don't know how to thank you for loving me so much that you tried to carry my pain." Emma smiled for the first time since she'd been on stage. "Mommy, Daddy used to say that love means helping each other feel better, not carrying everything alone." Ellen felt her heart full to bursting. "Emma, you just taught everyone watching something crucial about love. Real love doesn't mean protecting each other from truth. It means sharing truth so nobody has to face it alone." As the segment concluded, Ellen hugged both Sophia and Emma, a long, genuine embrace that honored the profound healing they had just witnessed and facilitated. The audience's applause wasn't just appreciation, it was recognition of something sacred, something that reminded them all what love looked like in its purest form. 3 months after the episode aired, Ellen received a letter from Sophia and Emma together. The letter included a photo of them at a grief counseling session specifically designed for families, and another photo of them visiting Sophia's husband's grave together, something they had finally been able to do as a team rather than as individuals carrying separate pain. The letter read, "Ellen, Emma's letter to me saved our family. But more than that, your helping us share it publicly saved us from carrying our grief in isolation. We learned that healing happens best when it happens together. Love, Sophia and Emma." Ellen featured their follow-up story in a later segment, showing how their relationship had transformed from 2 people protecting each other from pain to 2 people sharing pain in order to heal it. Emma's letter became a template for thousands of families dealing with loss and guilt. The episode sparked conversations about children's emotional intelligence, the importance of grieving together, and the power of love to heal even the deepest guilt and regret. But perhaps most importantly, Emma's wisdom reminded everyone watching that sometimes the most profound healing comes not from adults helping children, but from children helping adults remember what love looks like when it's stripped of everything except pure, protective compassion. Because sometimes an 8-year-old's undelivered letter can teach the world that love isn't about carrying pain alone, it's about sharing pain so that healing becomes possible together. Emma proved that children often see solutions that adults miss, that love without conditions can heal the deepest guilt, and that sometimes the most important conversations happen when we stop protecting each other from truth and start sharing truth to protect each other from isolation.